tonight? Wonderful. Hi, everyone. So good to see you all in this virtual space. Happy Tuesday. For those of you who are observing Rosh Hashanah, whether watching this live or watching this recording, I hope you are having a great holiday. So excited to be back for our College Essay Guy Matchlighters Scholars Program, First Gen Low Income webinar. Again, this is a professional development series aimed at supporting school counselors to support any number of students who identify as First Gen Low Income. This is our first webinar after the start of the school year. So I hope you all have been having a wonderful transition. My name is Diane Alvarado. I work with College Essay Guy part-time and the Matchlighters Scholars Program. Super happy to be hosting this webinar series. And I'm just going to get started with a couple housekeeping items. So as a reminder, this webinar is being recorded. So you will get access to the recording and any resources that our presenters share in a follow-up email later this week. We also have a live session survey form that's just helpful for us to get a little bit of feedback on what you all might be looking for in future iterations of this webinar series, what types of content you're looking to learn more about so that we can curate that for you in the coming months. And hopefully, I'm seeing some familiar names. We actually just got back as a team from NACAC, the National Association of College Admissions Counselor, that conference in Ohio, which was a wonderful time. I think I got to interact with some of you who watched this webinar series, which is super awesome. And I also wanted to share that College Essay Guy has a ton of resources that were presented at NACAC, just updated resources going into this next application cycle. And that can be found on College Essay Guy's NACAC website. And so Amy will also send that link in the chat if you're interested in getting those resources, copies of slide decks, and just more content that College Essay Guy shared at NACAC. You should go ahead and do that. And again, as we continue going into the academic year, there are so many webinars, live events, and boot camps that College Essay Guy runs. And in order to get the most up-to-date information on that, you can always check out our webinars and live events page that is updated as soon as we have a live session confirmed. And Amy will also send that link in the chat as well. But I am very excited to be here tonight. This is a very special webinar series because this is the first time we are having two presenters, and particularly having presenters that are Matchlighters Scholar alums, which is super exciting. So I will not steal any more of their time. Tonight's session is on transitional programs for first-gen low-income students, particularly focusing on the transitional program offered at Brandeis University. So we have an awesome Brandeis staff person joining us tonight, as well as Mina and Mirabel Rowland, who are Matchlighters Scholars alums and also went through this transitional program at Brandeis and are going to tell you a little bit more about their experience as well. And we're so excited to hear more from them. So without further ado, I will go ahead and pass over the mic to them, and I'll be back to help facilitate Q&A later this evening. So feel free to save your questions for the end, and we're excited to hear from them tonight. So I'll hand it to you all.
Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who's joining in. So our presentation is Growing and Glowing, helping first-gen students succeed through transitional programs. So for our agenda, we're going to start with introductions for our panelists. We'll talk about the history and the impact of MKAP, and then my sister and I will share our experience, and then we'll have a conclusion and a Q&A. So without further ado, go into the introduction. Aprilis, do you want to introduce yourself, or do you want me to introduce you?
No, that's fine. I can introduce myself. Good evening. I'm really happy to be here. I know that this is a special evening for many of you. Thank you for taking the time to listen to what we have to say. I am Aprilis Diaz, like I said, and I'm the director of the Myra Kraft Achievers Program over at Brandeis University. This is my 11th or 10th month in this role, and I'm really happy to be in this role. Prior to coming to Brandeis University, I was the executive director for the Center for Student Success at Eastern Nazarene College. Unfortunately, Eastern Nazarene College closed its doors after 124 years last summer in 2024, and then Brandeis adopted me. I've been doing this work for a very, very long time. I've been working with first-gen and income-restricted students for almost 30 years now, and it's my passion and my joy. I'm happy to speak about this program and what the program does for students at Brandeis.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. So my name is Mirabel Rowland. I am a recent graduate of Brandeis University with a bachelor's in film, TV, and media, as well as concentrations in education and journalism. I am a Matchlighters recipient and MKAP or MKTYP alum, currently an urban education fellow. And a fun fact about me is that I was the mascot for my school. So I'm Mina Rowland, aka her twin. I also have a bachelor's. I self-designed my major through the independent interdisciplinary major. So I combined creative writing, studio art, and film, and titled it Multimedia Storytelling. And I also have a minor in AAAS or African and African American Studies. Some career interests of mine are art education, communication, and media. I'm also serving as a tutor and a fellow at Great Oaks with my sister. And a fun fact is I met Yara Shahidi and her mom in a bookstore in Boston. So we will get into, Aprilis, you can take it away from now.
Wonderful, thank you. As was mentioned previously, this is the Myra Kraft Achievers Program, but it was previously known as the Myra Kraft Transitional Year Program. There's a reason for that. The program is started as during the civil rights movement in 1968, when universities were being challenged to increase access for under-resourced and underrepresented students. So we're going to be 60 years very, very soon. And the program was really the heart of some faculty members at Brandeis that wanted to just provide more access at that point for, in particular, Black students. And it really stands as a pillar to Brandeis's commitment to social justice, and we're really proud of that. Next slide. It is really right now the longest continuous program of its kind in the country. And we have a lot of programs that are similar. We are not, we're a program that doesn't just serve first generation students, but many or if not most of our students are first gen, low income or income restricted, which is what we're using right now. It has helped over 1,000 talented students from under-resourced high schools and just talented leaders who may not have the same resources in their high school that other peers might have had, and that still had college goals. It started as the Transitional Year Program, and then in 2013, it changed to the Myra Kraft Transitional Year Program. So it was renamed after Myra Kraft, and Myra was the wife of Robert Kraft, who's the owner of the Patriots, and they made a very, very generous endowment donation to the program. Myra really loved Brandeis, and she was a graduate of Brandeis. She was also a trustee, a philanthropist, and she was deeply committed to this program. She truly, truly loved it. She was a champion for equity, and this is why the program was renamed after her. She definitely embodied the university's values of justice and service and community. We're very grateful that she stepped in and continued to support the program. In 2023, the program then transitioned to becoming the Myra Kraft Achievers Program because it's no longer necessarily a transitional program the way that it used to be, although it does provide transition. Right now, students come in Brandeis admissible. So students go through the regular admissions process and come in as any other Brandeis student would. The only difference is, well, like I said before, background, maybe coming from high schools that are under-resourced and maybe from low incomes or first gen and have unique stories to tell. So you have wonderful students who are demonstrated leaders, have great grades, definitely, like I said, Brandeis admissible, but just need the opportunity and access to a university such as Brandeis. Our motto continues to be knowledge, justice, and excellence. And our aim is really to help good students become great students. So just a little bit about the structure, a little bit more about the structure. This is now, instead of a 5-year program, whereas the program started as a freshman or a pre-freshman year program where students would take a year of being in the program, and then it was decided if they can enter Brandeis, but the first year used to be designed to help students become Brandeis admissible. But now the program, like I said, is not a 5-year program, it's a 4-year program. And it provides just 4 years of this wraparound support, where we provide support for students in academics, in advising, in community building, and now we've added a 4th pillar of career readiness. At the academic level, we provide rigorous academics the first year. We have classes that are particular to the MKAP students. So students come in with a specific cohort of no more than 20 students. Then they take what's called MKAP courses. And the MKAP courses really are courses that they would have to take anyway, but the difference is that they would take it with instructors that are specifically hired for MKAP students, and the students take these classes together the first year. And I'll show you a model of what that looks like in a minute. In addition to taking MKAP courses the first year and providing rigorous academics, we provide students with support in tutoring in addition to MKAP professors, and we also have TAs that assist our MKAP students. We also have advising. It's required. Students need to meet with myself, or there is another MKAP advisor who is on our staff, and we provide one-on-one advising on a monthly basis. And then we also are part of the academic services at Brandeis University, and we're part of a larger advising team. And sometimes students are also shared with other advisors who might have more input or information on advising that has to do with something more specific along the lines of their major interests. And that's okay because we work together in the advising team. We also provide community building, which it is very important for students to feel like they belong, that they belong to the university, that they didn't get a hand-me-down to be there, that if they're first gen, that they belong. And we provide events that definitely help students be seen and supported. And we have all types of fun activities, but and trips, but we also have workshops, and we have town hall meetings where students have an opportunity to feel like they're part of something bigger and that they're supported. We have, like I said, small cohort sizes. Every year we don't accept more than 20 students, and that's on purpose because we want students not to feel like they're lost in the mix. And this year, the university is even making a bigger push in terms of making sure that students are career ready. It's not that we weren't doing it before, but there are specific initiatives that we're doing, like mini credentialing and all of that. So MKAP is definitely taking part of developing those components for career readiness. During the summer, we also offer support. Even before students come on board in their freshman year, we have this onboarding process in the summer where students connect virtually in these summer connect sessions. And for students who have already passed their freshman year, they have continuous advising support throughout the summer, and we offer summer programming as well. Our goal as a program is to make sure that students graduate with little to no debt. And the Kraft family recently re-emphasized their financial commitment to the program. Therefore, we believe that students are going to be in an even better financial situation when they graduate. We also have private donors who give scholarships to our students throughout the time that they're here, in addition to the Myra Kraft Achievers Program that offers support for tuition. So sometimes donors will give funding for summer opportunities. Some of our students go to study abroad, and we offer them with financial assistance to do that. Sometimes our students want to take summer courses, and we offer grants for students to study in the summer as well. And then we have some monies to help students with emergencies. Now, Brandeis does offer a lot of support for students with who have specific needs, like emergency needs. For example, Brandeis offers grants for textbooks and travel to and from at the beginning of the school year, and from home, and grants for laptops and medical insurance. But in addition to that, MCAP has some monies to help students with essential things such as storage needs and other emergencies that might come out throughout the year. That fund day ties back to the summer program that I mentioned previously. Here's just a snapshot in terms of what our support team looks like. We have, like I said, administrators. There's myself, who's the director. We have another advisor who's on board, and a graduate assistant who's starting soon with us. We have our MCAP instructors who are definitely committed to our students in a very unique way. They meet with us specifically to talk about all things MCAP and how to support the specific and the unique needs of our students. We have teaching assistants who work with our instructors. We have specific MCAP tutors. We also hire students who work as our fellows, and these students provide support for program development, like all of those community building activities and other administrative support. Our fellows provide that assistance for us. We currently have 6 fellows. And then we have peer mentors, and those are MCAP students who are upper class who would like to give back and help incoming students and provide them support. I mentioned this previously, that this is what our first year of academics look like. So in the fall, the students take 3 specific MCAP courses. Now, I say MCAP courses, but these courses meet the same requirements that any other student at Brandeis would need to meet when they come in their first year. The only difference is that the students take these courses with MCAP instructors and with very, very unique MCAP supports in place. Students also, during their fall and the first year, also take an elective of their choice. Usually this elective is tied to maybe a major that they're already interested in. And we encourage students that to take the elective that is connected to what they would like to study, even if they're not 100% sure. During the spring, the students only take 2 MCAP related courses, and it's a continuation of the first 2. So we have a writing course, a social science course, and a quantitative reasoning course the first semester in the fall. And in the second semester, the only 2 courses that continue are the writing and social science, where students learn how to write or strengthen their college level writing skills and their analysis skills and reporting skills. And during the spring semester, the students take 2 electives of their choice instead of 1. Finally, and we could talk about this further, but there's a link that I provided where students get more information on how to apply. So how do you apply? You fill out the Common App, but there's a specific question that asks students about their interest in the MCAP program. Right now, it's a 250-word paragraph that asks a specific question. And it's important that counselors understand the program and what it entails, because that way students aren't surprised when they come in, because they're not used to getting all of this attention and all of this support, because that's what the program is about. And we truly do understand the students that we select. Last year, I can say we had 913 students apply. 913. Of those, we extended offer to about 39 students, and we took in 17. So there's a lot of growing interest in the program, and I know that our team over at admissions looks at each application closely. Unfortunately, we can't take more than 20 students at a time, but we're happy with the group that we have this year, and we have a high retention rate right now with students coming on and staying on because they feel that they have the support that they need, not just financially, but academically, emotionally, and just all around. They feel that support. Usually for students in regular timeline, when they apply, they should know by April 1st if they didn't apply didn't have early admission. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Why MKAP? The last thing that I want to say is that we understand that talent is universal, but opportunity is not. And the goal of this program is really to provide opportunity and access to students who really want to have a good education at an institution such as Brandeis University. And we want to make sure that this program addresses all of the barriers, everything that would get in the way of those students to be able to come and study and get a good education like Mina and Mirabel. And I'm really proud of them. I'm really excited that they're here and they're going to talk about their story. We definitely, our goal is to definitely help students rewrite what is possible for themselves and for their families. And we hope that you would send students our way, that you would continue to ask questions. Feel free to send me any questions that you might have, or even at the end of this seminar.
Thank you, Aprilis. So my sister and I are going to talk about our experience in two parts. We're gonna kind of talk about being Matchlighters Scholars and the process of actually like applying to college and getting in, and then also once we got accepted into Brandeis through the MKAP, which is now MKAP program, our experience with that. So starting off for some background information, we actually graduated high school in 2020, which was definitely crazy because it was amidst the pandemic and a racial reckoning. And during this time, our family was navigating poverty. So we did initially apply to colleges with the help of our high school counselor. And we did get a round of acceptances, but unfortunately, we did not really receive the aid we were looking forward to, especially from HBCUs or historically Black colleges and universities. So we ended up taking a gap year. And I will say I was not familiar. I'm so sorry if y'all can hear the traffic because we're like in a school and the traffic is like right outside. But so I wasn't familiar with the deferment process or what that really meant. So I remember just emailing a bunch of colleges, telling them like, thank you for this acceptance. Unfortunately, I can't accept right now, but I'll be reapplying the following year. And obviously that meant rewriting an entire essay because you can't really reuse. So I remember just like scouring the web as one does, looking for examples. And I found the College Essay Guy. I found different blogs about like why NYU, things like that. And at the very end of one of the web pages, I saw the ad that you see in like the left corner at the top. And after I clicked learn more and apply, I figured the worst that could happen was that they would say no. I honestly didn't really expect to get accepted, but my sister and I both got accepted. As you can see, the little screen grab of the email acceptance, which was super awesome. And we both got matched with Bonnie Swift, who's pictured here, and she's really awesome. She just helped us. Mostly we communicated through email and some calls. Obviously it was during COVID and everything. But yeah, she was definitely always just like reading, revising, editing our essays, everything from the personal statement to all the like university specific why you, why us essays. So talking a little bit about my experience, I will definitely say that I think kind of from kindergarten until like your junior year of high school, you're taught to write in one way. So I think definitely like learning about the college essay and just like how different it is from everything else that you write, like telling stories and also balancing kind of like humor and fun and being engaging along with also talking about yourself was a challenge, but it was definitely aided through Bonnie. She helped us. She definitely just like emphasize the importance of being vulnerable, because I feel like the first round of applications, I just wrote kind of like a more, I guess, general essay about like theater and things like that. But she really emphasized the importance of being vulnerable and sharing stories that you might not normally share with others, because it does kind of like you can't, and no one else can see that part of your story. Like if they're just looking at your scores or your GPA and things like that, it's just numbers. But obviously like that story of you is like so important and adds to your identity. So yeah, also obviously because it was one-on-one, we received very personal feedback. So it wasn't just like the grammar edits that like my AP Lit teacher gave. It was like very specific, like how can I make this sentence so much more powerful? How can I make my essay more poignant? So yeah. Do you want to talk about this? Oh yeah, so also this little screenshot is a cute question. I think it was from Emerson. It was just like a really fun question that I remember writing an essay for, and it was which book, character, song, or piece of work represents you? And I chose a movie because I do love movies. It was Ugly Dolls, but it was like a really cute essay to write. It was pretty short, and I just love like fun prompts. So similarly to my sister, I will start with saying I am an artist, as I self-designed my major in college. I'm a very creative girly pop, and I'm also a visual learner. So for me, the way I kind of assess particularly the personal statement essay, I looked at it kind of like a piece of art, kind of like a self-portrait or like the Meet the Artist page that you do in your sketchbook. If you are an artist, you know. So yeah, basically the prompt, kind of what my sister was saying, Bonnie really helped us realize the importance of vulnerability. And particularly for me, I think the biggest challenge was being able to tell a story that didn't make me feel one-dimensional, because I think especially if you're talking about food insecurity, if you're talking about poverty, it kind of almost feels like it's very flattening. It's like once you tell someone that you're experiencing something, then it's like that's all they see you as. And I think Bonnie really helped us realize that there are multiple ways that you can kind of balance your identities and tell stories that express all of those identities. But I also want to just like make a point that the essay is really I know like Aprilis was talking about like having students like reclaim their own narrative. And I think like the essay is really that part where you can reclaim or take control of the narrative, because it's the only space where the student can actually answer this question and tell their story right. Because like grades, clubs, extracurriculars, like all those decisions that were in like the first 4 years, of your high school, you didn't like that could be a privilege, it could be a decision, right? If you have the ability to participate in theater, or if you have access to Wi-Fi to keep up a 3.0 GPA, or have access to a quiet environment to study for the SATs. But this was quite literally a blank canvas, and everyone has the same blank canvas. And also like through the Matchlighters Scholars, obviously like having access to someone that can help you with editing, revising, and all of that is like really helpful. So yeah, and then as an artist, the way I show my token of appreciation is through cards. So I remember emailing her after we got our acceptances that I was just like so appreciative of her help. We definitely would not have gotten this far without her. So yeah, that moves us into acceptances and recognition. So do you want to talk about acceptances? Yes. So we got into several universities, which include NYU, Emerson, Howard, University of Minnesota, of course, Brandeis, as well as Spelman, and some others. Yeah, so most of the colleges, we didn't really get the aid that we wanted. And actually, fun fact for Brandeis, we didn't initially get accepted through the normal way. I remember one of the admissions counselors reaching out to us and telling us about MK2AP. So then we reapplied through that program, and then we got accepted. So that was super cool. And then additionally, I will say, for all of the counselors that are in the Zoom, you should definitely tell your students about the New York Times. They have like every year, I think they have like an open submission for students to submit their college essays. I submitted mine like unwittingly, not really expecting anything to happen, and I got like 3 sentences published in the New York Times alongside some of my art. So I think it's like really cool way to just like showcase your works. I think college essays, I love reading college essays. It's super cool just to like hear people tell their stories. Like I've heard people write essays about like random things. Like people write essays about Oreos, like literally random things. And it's like super fun, and it's just like a great way to get to know people. And I think it's like really cool way to get published also. So yeah, talking more about the Myra Kraft Transitional Year Program, we kind of broke it up into a rosebud thorn. So when we were first accepted, it was in 2021 under the direct, advising of Catherine Bethea Rivera, as well as Lily Pineda. So the Rose is that we had monthly workshops that really helped us learn about campus resources. So basically it was just kind of like our cohort, one of the directors, and then like one person that's representing like the different organizations. So this could include the Hyatt Career Center, which obviously supports students with finding careers, finding internships and things like that. There was also Creative Brandeis, which I don't know if it's still there. I think it kind of shifted a little bit, but it was kind of like this hub that supported artists on campus. We also had academic services, financial aid, and like all tons of different programs. Because I think it's like really important to like underscore how much like there's so many resources out there that universities have, and I feel like there's like a disconnect between like students actually knowing about them, because like I literally can't count the amount of times like senior year, my last semester, I found out about like this cool like fellowship or this cool like funding thing I could have gotten. And I'm like, I'm about to graduate, it's too late for me. But you know, I'll definitely spread the knowledge, share the wealth. So we also had MKAP events, kind of what Aprilis was talking about before. So they were really focused on cultivating community, on storytelling and celebration. So I remember we went to a play in Boston. It was at the Huntington Theater called Once on This Island. It was a really cool experience, especially that we haven't really like had those types of experiences before. So it was an amazing opportunity. We also like had movie nights and things like that. So it was just like really amazing to like get to know our cohort and also just like experience new experiences. So the bud obviously is that new changes are being implemented, as Aprilis talked about. Some of the things that she talked about are like was still some of our experiences. But I will say for Thorns, the classes that we were in the transitional year program, so that was an extra year program. Essentially, we had 4 classes that we had to take that were MKAP. We did not get credit for these classes, but they did go on your transcript. So you obviously had to care about your grades, but I think it definitely devalued it in some way for students in our cohort. A lot of students did not have motivation to like try in those classes. And for us, it kind of created an extra load because we didn't want to graduate in 5 years. We wanted to graduate with the class that we came in with. So we took summer classes, and we basically took 5 classes every single semester in college, which was definitely an extra load, like I said. Something else that I will say was boundaries. I feel like for us at least, like, I don't know, I feel like there could have been maybe a little workshop on boundaries, just because we are in a very small cohort of people that are very mixed personalities, and we are basically living together. Like most of us were paired with roommates that were also in the program. So we were living together. We see each other having the same classes together, just like we're always seeing each other constantly. And you know, boundaries are good. And then something else was culture shock, which I think is just like broader general, just like going to college, being a first-gen college student. Like there's just like so many new experiences. Like I know when I came in, my expectation was that I was going to be eating ramen noodles and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Like I fully didn't realize that there was a dining hall, and I think I really didn't know, like when you go into the dining hall, it's basically like Golden Corral. Like you can eat whatever you want, you can get as many plates. So I think like knowing how to like make sure you're eating good meals, like balancing nutrition and things like that would have been a little more helpful. But I mean, like we learned. Yeah, we did gain the freshman 15, but it's okay. So yeah, moving into like my personal experience, how MKAP helped me with, I don't know, I will say because it was a 5-year program and we took extra classes, it kind of felt like I graduated college in 3 years, because that first year was just like the program and then like me just like trying to make sure, so that was definitely interesting, a little bit chaotic, but we made it work. So I want to first start by saying definitely what my sister mentioned, Catherine Bethea Rivera brought in people for workshops that were every month. One of the workshops was with Creative Brandeis, and I remember reaching out to the woman who ran that, and she talked to me. We had like a little chat about like being an artist, like how do we like kind of show our work and things like that. So I actually sold my art for the first time my second semester of freshman year. So this little picture of me right here, selling my art. Super proud because I made my entire stand out of cardboard and I spray painted it metallic silver to make it look fancy. So that was super fun. And it kind of became a tradition after that. I was like selling my art pretty much every other semester. And also just like a nice side hustle. Something else that I did was just generally trying new things. I wrote an article for the first time and became published in my school newspaper. And then that also just like became an entire thing. I worked my way up from an editorial assistant to section editor and then associate editor at the Justice, which was super fun. And then also I think finding my voice was something that MKAP helped me do. because even after the first year is very much one-on-one support and attention. And then after that first year, like you can still obviously participate. You can become a fellow if you want. I had too many things on my plate. I was like doing too many clubs and also taking 5 classes. So I didn't kind of lean in as much as I could have, but Catherine and Lily, and even like in our very last year as a senior, like Aprilis coming in, she was really supportive of us. And I think particularly when I published my first article for the Justice, I remember Catherine like giving me a whole shout out, telling everyone about it, which was like crazy. Like she was definitely giving mom. And then I also started a podcast and a social journalism class, which was super fun. It's called Almost There, and it was me just interviewing women of color about their work in animation. And she was also super supportive of that. I started what I like to call an underground club called Rise. And basically it is a literary space and a literary magazine for students of color on campus. And actually we published our first issue online, yes, this past spring. So that was exciting. And I remember when I first had the idea for it, she put it in the newsletter. She was asking everyone to like sign up for it. So definitely very supportive. And then something else also was just like, being in our cohort, we did a lot of like icebreakers. We had a retreat where we were just like zip lining in the trees, like, you know, definitely doing like some like new things, right? Doing challenges, like getting out of our comfort zone. So that definitely made it easier for me to just like go up to someone in the dining hall that I didn't know and like be super awkward and like, you know, make a friend, and just like, you know, attend new events, and just like kind of get out of my comfort zone. And then obviously I finally graduated. So, you know, period. Yeah, so talking a little bit about my experience for some of the like MKAP, MKTYP events, there was definitely this thing that we did during our first year. So our director, Catherine, would curate a list of classes, and it was like for each student. So that definitely helped with like, oh, like based on our interests, like what classes might seem interesting to you, what classes might spark something. So I think like my first year, I was definitely set on an education major, but I ended up taking a screenwriting class because I was super interested in film, and that kind of changed the trajectory where I did a major in film and then a minor in journalism and education. So it was definitely interesting. We also had weekly check-ins, which is still going on in the program, where students can just like kind of reflect with the advisor about, you know, academics, like how our class is going, how do we feel, also with the kind of the balance of like if we have a job also or an internship or things like that. Like my sister said, very similar, also try new things. So I definitely got into film, into photography, which is some of my photographs featured here, a short film that I did. And also just like applying to things that I never expected to apply to. So like I grew up listening to NPR, grew up watching PBS, and like you always like see at the end of the credits or like hear like, and our interns, blah, blah, blah. But it's like never something that really like struck with me. But during my fall semester of my senior year, I applied to GVH with a radio show called Under the Radar with Callie Crossley. And it was just an incredible experience learning about production and kind of the behind the scenes work of radios. So it was just really amazing to like kind of find communities and industries that I'm interested in, especially like working with women of color. So yeah, it was really amazing. Also worked with an organization called Empowered by V, which also hidden resource that I would recommend for the counselors out there, because they are an organization that's really all about kind of just like connecting low-income students to like higher education. So I'm a blog writer, or I was, because our organization is a bit on a hiatus, but we definitely have lots of blogs that are already out there that students can read. And also our founder, Vika Tivu, is a YouTuber, so she has lots of videos that I actually watched when I was in high school, that are about like how to write the college essay or how to write personal statements, and even just like when you're in college, how to write under terrible deadlines. But yes, and lastly, obviously, as Aprilis mentioned, that there was obviously this kind of transition. So basically in the summer, our director took some time off, and she's working at the Massachusetts State House, but basically we didn't have a director, which was, you know, Crazy.
yeah, crazy. It was crazy. But what was really interesting is that Lily, who was the other kind of administrator for MK2AP, MCAP, she let all the students in the new cohort, along with anyone else, basically be a part of interviewing prospects, which was really cool because I've never been on that side. Like
I'm always one being interviewed. I got to read people's resumes and like actually meet with people. So it was really amazing. And when I met Aprilis, I was like, yes, she's definitely the perfect person for this role. So I'm excited to see what she does. Yes. Okay. So that's almost a wrap. I do have a shameless plug. So as you know, we're both filmmakers, and in my last semester, I finished making this documentary. It is very specific to the Gen 1 network at Brandeis, but I had the opportunity to interview Lily Pinheiro, who we mentioned. She works with both MKAP and the Gen 1 network, and I think, you know, it kind of goes into like advice. So we're gonna play like a minute and a half of the ending of it. And then we'll close up with this and then questions. So I hope this works.
Mina, I think that you need to stop the video really quickly, and then you have to select play on, because I think we can hear it, but we can't hear it on our end.
Oh, wait, hold on. How do I do this? Wait, say that again?
So when you are clicking share, can you stop share really quickly?
Did you stop sharing?
Stop sharing really quickly. And then when you share again, there's a little box that says share video on.
Okay.
You see the little box that says share video?
I'm
Or
also happy, y'all, I'm happy to screen share and share the audio if that's
yeah,
okay, beautiful. Give
that
me
sounds
1
good.
second to pull that
I've
up.
done that too, so don't worry.
Thank you.
Now the screen sharing thing is tricky. Okay, beautiful. And then, oops, wait 1 more second. Let me screen share with. It's not letting me share with sound. Let me see if this works. Can you hear the audio there?
Yes.
I want you to remember that before being a student, you were a beautiful human being with your own unique journey. So never underestimate the value of your experiences and perspective. You bring something truly invaluable to the table, your story, your drive, and your resilience. So be compassionate to yourself. It's okay to feel uncertain or overwhelmed sometimes. Those feelings are part of the process, so ask for help when you need it. Trust that you belong here and that you have the strength to carve out your own path, whatever that path looks like for you.
I'm Genesis and I'm first gen.
I'm Gustavo Nascimento and I am Gen 1.
Hello, everyone. My name is Musa Abulaki, and I'm a first-gen student.
Hi, I'm Davida. Hi, I'm Kay.
Hi, I'm Justine.
And we're first gen.
Hi, I'm Marlena. Hi, my name is Hannah, and I am first gen or Gen 1.
My name is Sam, and I'm Gen.
Just do it. Don't let your head stop your heart from moving fast.
Oh, okay. I will go ahead and bring everyone back. I think I speak for everyone who was listening, who is watching the recording. That was just absolutely beautiful on every aspect. Thank you all so much for Aprilis for sharing, you know, the kind of institutional perspective and knowledge on this program, and Mina and Mirabel for just sharing your stories. I didn't say this at the beginning because I didn't want you guys to get nervous, but Bonnie Swift actually was one of the attendees watching tonight. And so I'm sure she is endlessly proud of you all, the same way Erica is, the same way I am, having only recently met you all. I think that you are both brilliant women and just have so much, have left so much legacy at Brandeis and have so much coming for you both. So I'm very excited to see how that continues to evolve. For folks who are still in the webinar, please feel free to ask your questions in Q&A. I have a couple just to kind of set the scene and just delve in a little bit more to the things that you all were sharing. Aprilis, just thinking about the program and just kind of in your criteria for, you know, selecting students that end up making it into that kind of final cohort, what are maybe some tips or pointers that counselors should know when preparing their students for writing that written piece, or just applying to Brandeis and applying for this program in general? Any nuggets of wisdom, things that you specifically seek out in your applicants, anything that counselors should be aware of?
I think that Mina and Mirabel really touched on it. Make sure that, you know, all parts of who you are come into this essay. And of course, when it comes to Brandeis looking for students, and considering students for MKAP, we really want to hear your background, and that's something that that is part of who a student is. And you could be this stellar, wonderful student with great grades and a leader, but then you have come from a background where you didn't have the same resources that somebody else might have had, and we want to hear those stories. Want to hear how those students rose to the occasion to, you know, graduate, get accepted into college, while at the same time maybe overcoming some odds like assisting family members or, you know, facing some unique situations. I'm not first gen, but I definitely share in some of those stories. And Boston University took me in as a student who came from an under-resourced high school. And I National Honor Society's leader in my school, but I didn't come from the same opportunities. And they they gave me an opportunity to go to school. And I think this is exactly what, and I know that this is exactly what Brandeis wants to do. So anytime you're reading, you're writing those essays, that those that comes through, that, you know.
Wonderful. Yeah, and it's, I think, something that's also very deeply entwined in the ethos of College Essay Guy in general. So truly lean on CEG's resources as you are helping your students navigate the college application process as a whole, because I think that values-based perspective really shines through when you're applying to anything, but particularly to college and university. So thank you for sharing that. And for Mina and Mirabel, I would love to hear, you know, we heard a little bit more about the program and how advising and that kind of mentorship piece is really a key component of the program. So if both or either of you could share maybe a time that you leaned on, you know, a particular advisor or mentor. It doesn't have to be, you know, someone from MKAP staff or faculty, but just kind of anybody that you kind of leaned on during your college years and navigating Brandeis as a first gen student, whether that was academics or something personal happening. Yeah, what role has kind of that mentorship played in your 4 years at Brandeis?
Yeah, definitely. I would say, well, Catherine, who is a part of MKAP, who's the previous director, I think I mentioned before, like after the first year, obviously we're not as tight knit, not as close, because obviously she was directing all of her attention to like the new ones. Yeah, it was definitely important. Like she would always just like check in. And I think particularly for me, especially like our freshman year, we did work study and I only had one job with the 5 classes, but after my sophomore year, pretty much every year I got like a new job. And I think like particularly when I had like 2 jobs, I was working like part-time for 2 jobs and also doing classes, it was 5 classes. It was just a lot to like navigate. So definitely just like really helpful to just like talk with her. Like her office was like always open, and it was just like really helpful to just like chat with her about like how to navigate that. She was definitely always big on like self-care. Like she would always be like, you need to take care of yourself first, because otherwise you're gonna get burnt out. You know, you can't pour from an empty cup. So that was just really helpful for me, like throughout my 4 years. Yeah, I would definitely say kind of the same thing. Definitely just like having someone to listen to me when I'm talking about whatever experiences that I'm going through. Like even if I'm like at the point where I'm like maybe I don't want to take this class anymore, maybe I want to drop it, and like hearing someone tell me you should keep it, it's like important to like push through even when you feel like you're going to fail. And obviously failure is a part of growth, so it's something that you need to get used to anyway. So yeah.
Beautiful. I feel the wisdom coming from you both, and I feel like it's something that I wish I would have had when I was in undergrad those years ago. So I don't see any new questions in the chat, which I think just speaks to how perfectly succinct you both were, you all were, and just kind of the quality of the content. As a reminder to folks who are watching, you will receive follow-up materials, including the slide deck that folks shared tonight, and any links and resources on more information on MKAP and the other kind of like pieces of Brandeis supporting first-gen students that were mentioned on tonight's call. I'm seeing as we're kind of coming, oh, that's a good question for Aprilis. I saw someone ask, are undocumented students eligible for this program?
Yes, they are. And we have unique support systems in place.
Wonderful, amazing. And I think especially in our current world, it's super helpful for students to get as many different spheres of support as possible. So if you are supporting scholars that are going through the college application process, truly look into, schools that have transition programs, really understanding kind of the value of creating pipelines and a group of support that students can have where kind of high school and college advising leave off. So I hope that this has inspired you all to look into different schools and programs and with a special eye to Brandeis, because I think they do this work very, very well. I think if there are no more questions in the chat, and I'm not seeing any more come in, again, I encourage you all to reach out to our presenters this evening. I believe they've all made themselves kind of available as resources and thought partners as you continue to prepare to support your students in the upcoming college application process. We hope to see you again soon at a future FGLI webinar. We have a couple of more slated for this calendar year before kind of transitioning into the new year. So again, thank you so much for watching this evening. For those who are watching the recording, thank you so much for your engagement with our content. And a final, very heartfelt thank you to Mina and Mirabel and Aprilis. You all were amazing, and I'm so grateful for your time and your expertise.
Thank you for having us, Diana. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Have an amazing night, everyone, and hope to see you at a future webinar very soon.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Goodbye.